Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and I've been gone for a little while. I've got Sophie here, in case you can't tell. She's being a little camera shy, sort of. At the very end of January, Scottish fiance and I actually closed on our very first flat. We bought a home, which is so exciting, and as you can probably tell, we have moved in, and that has taken up most of our time. However, the day after we closed on the flat, we went up to Edinburgh to look for wedding venues, and immediately after that, we started packing up to move. It has been a month. It has been a month. So in addition to that, I am also trying out a new camera that I got for Christmas. I don't know how well this is going to work. I also have a microphone, which is super exciting. So we're slightly upgrading things here. I don't know how this is going to work out, but if it's a little weird for a while, sorry. I'm working on it. Because this month has been so crazy, and because we had about 2 weeks to move all of our stuff, I was struck by a realization, and that is that I have too many books. Not actually that I have too many books. I feel like you can never have enough books. However, I have too many books that I have not read. The sad thing is that there are 6 shelves behind me, floor to ceiling. You can actually see there's an empty one back there. That's not going to last for very long. But about one shelf, this here, is all of my read books. The rest I haven't read. I have this kind of scary spreadsheet that I use to sort of catalog all the books that I have, what I've gotten rid of, what I've read, what I haven't read. And according to this spreadsheet, I have it here. I own just under 400 books, and that's probably actually slightly more now, so it's probably just over 400 books. And I have only read 148 of those books, it's not great. So I've come up with this idea. I know that a lot of people do TBR challenges to like tome, topple, or whatever, all this stuff, but I wanted to create something for myself because I find that I just don't follow those kinds of things very well. I feel like this will keep me a little bit more motivated. So because I am also a knitter in my spare time, there's something in knitting called stash busting. So basically, a lot like readers, knitters tend to acquire a lot of stuff and then not necessarily use it. You save your really nice yarn for a great project that you're never actually going to make, or you're too scared to use this wonderful, beautiful yarn that has been discontinued because you'll never be able to find it again if you mess up. So stash busting is sort of projects and encouragement to use that stuff that you already own and actually like make something out of it and not just have it sitting around gathering dust and looking pretty. I am taking that concept and I've created the Shelfbuster challenge. So this is going to be for myself. However, if you want to join in, then absolutely feel free to do so. It might feel a little bit less intimidating if I have someone else doing it with me. So definitely let me know if you want to do this. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to loop in my NetGalley account into this as well. So if you don't know what NetGalley is, it is a website where publishers can put up digital arcs of their books for reviewers to download and read. So you have to be approved by publishers, and there's a ratio that you want. You want 80%. So that is the number of books that you have been approved for by publishers. This is the number of books that you have actually read and reviewed, and the site will track that. The ideal is 80%. I am at 30%, which is not great. It's really not great. I have been approved for 135 books. I don't even know how many that means that I have read, but that's a lot of books that I haven't even touched. And part of this is because when I initially started blogging and reviewing, I went through and requested a ton of stuff because I assumed I wouldn't get approved for anything, and I did. And then all of a sudden I had all the stuff that I didn't necessarily want to read on my Kindle, and times were tough. So what are the goals of this challenge? I want to, by the end of this year, have read 60% of the books on the shelf. And that includes everything that I purchased throughout the year as well. That will include books that I unhauling and be a little bit more aggressive about that now. So I want to have read, by the end of the year, 60% of the books that I own at the end of 2018. I also want to get my NetGalley ratio up to 80%. We'll see if that happens. There is a way of unhauling NetGalley books as well, but I really want to go ahead and try to read as many of those as possible. Ever since I started getting approved for physical arcs from publishers and getting on those kind of blogger lists, I've really been neglecting NetGalley, and I have some amazing books on my NetGalley account, so I really need to get to those. So How am I going to do this? First of all, I'm going to curb my book buying a little bit. So I'm not going to do a all-out book buying ban, because that just, it doesn't work for me. If I feel like I can't do something, I immediately must do it. I must do it. So I think the last time I tried to go on a book buying ban, I bought like 26 books that month. I was very poor that month, and I felt very ashamed of myself. So I'm limiting myself to really highly anticipated new releases of mine, and also continuations of series that I am currently reading. I'm not going to buy any more first books in series that have already been well established, unless they're new. No more. I'm only going to buy the things that are continuing the series on. And I'm terrible at finishing series, so maybe this will help with that. I don't know. I'm also going to set up these shelves. They're completely out of order. I just wanted the books off the floor, but what I'm going to do is over that way, toward that wall, I'm going to set up all of the books that I have read, and then everything else is going to be my TBR shelves. So I'm going to do my best to kind of keep up with that and make sure that my read shelf has grown and my TBR shelf has shrunk, so we'll see how that goes. I'm also going to try to curb my requests a little bit more and limit them to things that I really want to read. So I have actually DNF'd a couple of review copies recently, and I should have realized that they were books that I was not necessarily going to be interested in, but they looked good. They looked like they could be really good, but they weren't ones where I was like, yes, I must read this. And I think that that is one of the reasons that I ended up DNFing those books. I just knew that they might not be for me, and it turns out that I was right. So why do I want to do this challenge? Well, other than the fact that I have all these beautiful shelves back here mocking me with books that I've never read, so many books that I've never read, I really want to get that TBR down. I want to feel like I'm not wasting a lot of money buying books, because I do have a little bit of a problem with buying books. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it always makes me feel so good and so happy. This is terrible, but I also really want to be one of those super annoying people on social media who's like, hee hee, my TBR pile is 5 books long. Oh my god, how did this happen? Because they know that people like us are out there looking at that being like, how the fuck did you do that? I want to be one of those people. I want to be one of those really annoying people, and I want to feel like when I go to the bookstore, I'm not giving myself anxiety or pressure. I can pick up stuff and I know I'm going to read it, and I know that all of these shelves are going to be filled with beautiful books that I have read, and it's going to be a challenge. I think it's really going to be a challenge. I also happen to have lots and lots of stuff on this shelf that is outside of my comfort zone. I tend to read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, whether that is adult or young adult. However, I also have a lot of nonfiction history on this shelf. I have a lot of historical fiction as well. I have some literary fiction. I have some, biographies. I have a lot of classics. I have so many books that are just ever so slightly outside of that comfort zone. And it's not necessarily genres that I never read, because I do. I read a little bit of everything. But they are genres that I don't necessarily dive for when I'm going to the shelf to pick up something new. So I'm hoping that this will help me broaden my horizons a little bit. So that is it for this video. This is my triumphant return to YouTube after an entire month of just not being around. And I will see you next time.